Or woken up one day to discover that you've been canceled or even blacklisted? That happened to me right here in the heart of Nashville's music scene. Public call-outs, online draggings, even death threats. It felt like the Wild West of online outrage. But I'm still here. I'm still playing music. I'm still creating. And I also got a story to tell about resilience, lessons learned, and how to keep going when the whole world or even your whole community seems against you. Broadway in Nashville isn't just a street. It's almost like a proving ground for musicians. It means being a human jukebox, ready to perform thousands of songs on demand. Country, rock, pop, emo, punk, oldies, you name it. Someone in the crowd is probably going to request it. And if you're not prepared, trust me, you're gonna feel it. Broadway doesn't just test your musical chops. It really tests your repertoire. It tests your stamina, your adaptability, your ability to work with random people at random times, and most importantly, your ability to stay calm under pressure. When I first arrived in Nashville, I wasn't a country musician. Hell, I hadn't even played for years. And when I did play, my background was in a wide variety of all the styles that are not played on Nashville's Lower Broadway. I very quickly realized I need to study up and adapt fast. I started gathering up every chart I could find from free resources being shared by other musicians, other sources online, other friends, and essentially piecing together a library of charts so I could survive on stage, because this was a brand new world to me. Over time, I didn't just collect the charts, I started improving them. I eventually gathered over 4,000 charts. Some of them I made on my own, some of them I found online. And this massive file of over 4,000 charts was multiple gigabytes of data. And what I did was I compressed that huge file into a very small file that could instantly be airdropped or texted in the middle of a gig. Why? Because relying on over-the-air data or mobile networks while on Broadway is unreliable at best. On a good day, they're slow, buggy, and on most days, they're going to fail when you need them the most. So if you're relying on a resource like Ultimate Guitar, where you pay a subscription fee to be able to access other people's charts online, you're really rolling the dice. So with my file, musicians could instantly get what they needed the most in the blink of an eye, even if it was right in the middle of a set. And it wasn't just a convenience. It was a lifeline in an industry where adaptability and preparation often mean the difference between success and failure. And I didn't just stop there. I created the massive corresponding Spotify playlists, and I even started adding some metadata like the BPM, the key, the genre, and was constantly working to make the library more searchable, more organized. My goal was to take something that was chaotic and make it more streamlined. Not just for me, but for anybody else who needed it. I was really thinking about musicians who are coming to Nashville and wanted to get a leg up before they came. Or, here's a shocker, music happens in cities outside of Nashville, and I thought this could be useful to other musicians. And in my advertising, I was abundantly clear that people weren't paying for the charts themselves because they could find them online for free. And I let that be known. They were paying for the hundreds of hours of busy work I put in, the organization, and saving time themselves so they didn't have to put this whole thing together. I was really thinking about creating a tool that could save people time and stress. I was thinking, what's the tool I wish I would have had when I first came to town? And this was it. And I made the decision to make this streamlined library available to others for a fee. And at first I felt proud and even excited about helping others better navigate the same challenges that I faced. But that excitement was suddenly turned into dread. One morning, I woke up to my phone incessantly going off. Notification after notification after notification. There is a wild backlash going on online about my package, and it was amongst a private Facebook group of other musicians on Nashville's Lower Broadway, and they did not like my charts at all. They said that I was stealing. Some in the community saw it as me profiting off of shared resources. And my Facebook just blew up, so much so that I had to put my phone on airplane mode. And what's wild is I've always espoused how great the community in Nashville is, how everybody wants to work together. So when things escalated to lies, insults, even death threats, I was floored. We're all professional adults, right? I found out not everybody was. And I'd love to say that the situation didn't bother me at all. But the truth is, my initial reaction was panic. I remember looking at my phone, reading the comments, and feeling my chest tighten, starting getting a cold sweat. I felt even nauseous. And I literally had a full-blown panic attack from the vitriol and just the hate that I was seeing. It was overwhelming. And at first I thought, well, you gotta own up to this, apologize to it, offer amends, it'll blow over. So I posted, said this is what my intent was, I'm sorry it was not perceived this way, and I didn't want to fight any battles because it wasn't worth it. I said, if you'd like, I can donate any money I've made from this to a musical charity. I'd be happy to do a masterclass on how I arrange all these charts and make things smaller. I was humble and saying, hey, what can I do? And I very quickly realized that it didn't matter. And it was apparent that nobody wanted to listen. The comments keep coming and coming. It became clear that nothing I could say or do was going to change anything, at least not in that moment. And when I realized this very quickly, I decided I'm just gonna walk away from this because there's nothing I can do right now. So I'm not going to pay attention. It will change nothing. There really was no point in engaging further because the conversation wasn't about understanding. It wasn't even a conversation. It was all about people expressing outrage and not wanting to communicate or work towards any solutions. Still amidst the noise, there were some glimmers of humanity. Many people reached out privately to check on me. Some of them that I didn't even know. They weren't necessarily defending me or condoning what I did. They just wanted to make sure I was okay. The bullying and the rhetoric online had gone so far over the top that even people who didn't know me were alarmed. Moments of kindness like this reminded me that the majority of people are actually sweet and caring, and sometimes it's a very loud minority that makes you think that's what the majority thinks. So I walked away from it and didn't pay attention. But then I got a call that changed things a bit. And it was a call from Tyson, one of the busiest and most respected musicians in Nashville. And for someone like Tyson to reach out to me, it meant a lot to me. And he gave me some perspective from things he saw previously. And he told me, this isn't the end of your story. Use this moment. Turn it into something bigger than yourself. Learn from it, rebound from it. I know you can. And that's when a light bulb went off. If the online world wasn't interested in listening at that moment, maybe I could create a space where real conversations that were productive could happen. And as Tyson told me, listen, just lay low. Nothing is going to change today. You just have to let people air it out. But sooner or later, you should tell your story. And I got the idea, well, you shared so many helpful anecdotes and insight about this. Why don't you come on my YouTube channel and we can talk about it? Because I'm not the first person this happened to. I'm not going to be the last person either. So maybe other people in the future could benefit from this. This isn't just my story. I had a chance to sit down with two incredible musicians from Nashville who are some of the busiest people in town, and they were kind enough to share their perspective on navigating controversy, navigating politics, and reputations within the music community in Nashville. And these insights helped me realize that while criticism can feel overwhelming, it's often an opportunity to grow. But how you respond is everything.
Right, and that's why I'm here. This is exactly how this conversation started.
Yeah.
You know, I called you that day when that happened because I saw that there was a firestorm of things. I didn't quite know what was going on yet, but I knew it was heavy and it was bad and there was a lot, and there was a lot of people involved, a lot of people that I know personally. And I was like, wow, geez, what did this guy do? That just like threw everybody I know into like, this guy needs to go f himself. Like, okay, I've been there. Not very often, thankfully, but I have been there. Let me reach out and see what's going on because from your end. Because I knew you enough to know that, douchebag taking advantage of everybody doesn't seem like your MO. So, if there was a couple other people that did that, I'd be like, not surprising at all.
Yeah.
But with you, that was surprising. So that's why I reached out. And we had a really good talk about a lot of things that day, and I think it was smart of you to not engage, just to stay off of social media and let things cool down.
And Tyson reached out to me, and he and I chatted about this, and he mentioned you. He was like, well, Logan kind of had some when he was, came to town, and he just didn't say anything about it, and then, like, he let it settle, and then, like, a couple weeks later, he made a post, and he let his actions speak for himself.
Anybody who's been in Nashville, like, probably 5 or 6 years knows that, like, my first gig ever was an absolute train wreck.
Okay.
Said yes to a gig, should not have done it.
Okay, so why shouldn't you have done it? Let's talk about
I
that.
had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't even know what Broadway was.
Okay.
Didn't know any of the songs.
Okay.
And after that was kind of like my come to Jesus, like, oh, this is what this is.
What did they say to you after that first gig, just out of curiosity?
Oh, I didn't get any backlash from them up until later.
Oh, okay.
I left thinking that it was like, okay, this was all right. And then it was not, in fact, all right.
Why wasn't it all right?
Oh, I got my friend David, who was the current admin for Gig Finder at the time, put out a very lengthy crucifixion post about me.
And this was like about you specifically?
Or like tagged me in it specifically.
Oh! Okay, sorry.
Downside was like, I was like, man, I'm never playing again. Nashville's like, never gonna play in this town again. And on the other side, I wrote it. Most of the people were like, dude, this is everybody's first gig.
Was it just that first gig, like, that put you, like, got you on shit list? Just that one gig?
Oh yeah, that was. And then but everybody, 99% of people were really cool. They were like, yeah, whatever, screw that. Like, that's what happens to everybody when they move in town.
Okay.
For some reason, yours was just public, which was neither here nor there.
How did that inform you in terms of the politics and what to say and what not to say on Broad?
I think just being diplomatic and friendly goes a long way, and then acknowledging when you made a mistake. People don't want to hear excuses. They don't want to hear you defend yourself. They just want to hear you roger up, say, "Yep, my bad," and move forward.
So do you think that usually works when people say, "Hey, my bad," and they just move forward? Do people forget about that, or do you think people hang on to that?
I think it depends on the situation, and it also depends on the people. I think that most people in this town are really quick to give second chances and try somebody out again, especially when you don't know them personally. I'm not about to hang on to shit like that.
For lack of better terms, do you think that there's like kind of like almost a bully culture?
Yes, especially right now. Now more than ever, maybe. Or not ever, but since I've been here. So in 10 years, it's definitely changed. I mean, it's always going to be a little cliquey, no matter where you live. I know as many people as I can, and I try to be very neutral. So in your situation, in a couple other situations where I was friends with both the offender and the people that are offended, I will stand back and just kind of observe the situation, and I will form my own conclusion, because if I'm basing my opinion of you on those people, then I'm not going to have a very great opinion, right? Because everybody's trying. But I don't ever base my opinion on the words of other people, because I've learned so many times that other people are like, oh, that guy's a jerk, that guy's this or that or the other, and then I finally meet him. I'm like, holy crap, he was super nice to me. I don't know what they're talking about.
So what are the lessons that I've learned? For starters, no matter what industry you're in, you're always going to face some sort of criticism. And here's what I've learned. Number one, own your mistakes. The first step is acknowledgement. I publicly apologized. I clarified my intentions, and I sincerely asked how I could make things right. Was that met with a positive response? Absolutely not. But I can't control that. But it at least showed that I'm willing to listen and engage in dialogue, and that I'm also invested into the community. Number two, filter out the noise. Not every comment, not every person deserves your time and your energy. Some people just want to be loud. Some people feel terribly insecure and they like to pile on somebody else. I know, because that was very much me when I was younger in my career. And that doesn't help anybody. So I encourage you, focus on the constructive feedback and let the rest of the insults just roll off your back. Number three, the gatekeepers aren't everything. Nashville's Broadway scene is just one piece of a very bigger puzzle. And the Facebook groups within Broadway are just a small piece of that Broadway puzzle. Those people on Facebook, they don't define your career. Those people online on Instagram, on X, TikTok, they don't define your career. It's just one very small piece of the puzzle. And it may not even be a piece that you need. I'm not suggesting you burn bridges at all, but realize a very isolated controversy within an isolated scene isn't the end of the world. Lastly, number 4, community over competition. Instead of seeing others as rivals, as enemies, look for people that you are happy to be around and happy for their successes, and those who are happy for your successes. Controversy or a rough time is a great opportunity to really figure out who's what. I've had lots of friends say they disagree with me, but they think that the rhetoric online was pretty out of hand. And they offered their thoughts to me, and I considered that. I really respected Tyson and Logan for sitting down and talking to me candidly and offering different opinions, but we all had this common understanding that we love what we do, we love our community, and we want to improve it. And sometimes we use our tough lessons as a way to help other people. So where do we go from here? For me, it's about continuing to focus on what matters, which is creating, collaborating, growing. And I'll keep using my platform on YouTube to encourage dialogue, not division, not to call anybody out, but to help others. Sometimes we come up short, but we get up and try again. And if you've ever felt like you're the odd one out, like you're being canceled, like your world is ending, know this: you're not alone, and you aren't defined by your worst moments. Oftentimes, how you respond to those moments is really where you earn your stripes. And I'd love to hear from you. What's your experience been like navigating personal or professional crisis? What are some of the things you learned about yourself and the community? Drop your stories in the comments below. And of course, there's going to be people who want to troll. Well, your comments can represent yourself, that's fine. And I also thank you for the engagement to help push this video along. To wrap this up, here's a final thought. We all screw up. Sometimes we do it publicly. Sometimes we do it spectacularly. But that mistake does not define us. It's how we recover, how we learn, and how we treat others in the process. Because you know what? I've often asked for grace, but I'm willing to give that as well. Because if you're part of a community, it's really a give and take. And we're all human, and we're complex. And Nashville's music scene is like a microcosm of the rest of the world. It's full of politics, egos, conflicts, and opportunities. And I truly believe that making it a space where everyone can thrive is in all of our best interests. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue trying to find ways to help other musicians and improve my community. And that may include just not listening to some of these people who just want to flap their gums. They can do that. If that's how they want to spend their time, they can. Oh, and by the way, if you enjoyed hearing from Logan and Tyson, who are great musicians and great people, I'll be releasing their full-length interviews very soon. And really keep an eye out for them because there's so much wisdom that they have to offer, and I know it will resonate with you. And also, Tyson and Logan are just solid people. I'm really grateful to know them. I'm really grateful to have them as part of this community. Their actions time and time again have shown that they want to help people. They don't want to pile on people, and they understand that sometimes this can be messy. But they're truly a good example of sitting back, assessing things, not reacting, and being an asset to people musically and personally. So Tyson and Logan, I just thank you for being solid, and I'm honored to share a space with you. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you found value in this video, like, subscribe, share it with somebody who might need it. And until the next time, keep growing, keep learning, keep being kind to other people, and keep being kind to yourself.